Yes, this one's about 10 years, I guess. Yeah. Uh, well, about 2.5 years of musical reason, because it takes me that long to get it together, the material together. Um, Other than that, no. I just decided to stop for a while and concentrate on art and painting and drawing and things like that. It's what makes it harder, of course, is a layoff like this because it's you just have to reacquaint yourself with everything that you do basically in that area, and then try to figure out uh, degree and angle you want to take, and that all goes with it. So you're hoping, that it's going to connect somewhere. Well, it is. It is, and it isn't. Because first of all, so much of this technology is transient. It shouldn't. That shouldn't scare you too much. That doesn't bother me that much. So you can mix the old with the new very easily, and I catch on fairly quickly. So it's that's not really a big problem for me. And of course, I work with people who are very au fait with that stuff. So what I don't know, they know. I would try to get a band's performance as much as possible with most things, and then now and then I'll layer something. But I try to get them all live because I'm looking for a depth of sound in the picture rather than something that, say, a synthesizer can give you, which is rather a flat sound. So for this particular album, I was looking for that. I only use the synthesizer when I'm absolutely pushed to, and I have used it here and there, dotted it here and there, but it's when I can't really find anything else, and when we've all conferred and we're digging around for sounds, when we really can't find anything else, then we'll resort to it. I don't have a closed mind in any of this, but if I'm looking for a particular kind of, when I say I didn't use synthesizers for this, it means that I'm looking for a certain kind of sound, and that wouldn't have been appropriate. So I'm not closing my mind to any of it. I hope it's going to be okay when I call for it, but I did, because I'd waited so long before I'd made a record, there'd been this giant hiatus, I did spend about 3 months singing at home, which is something I don't normally do at all, and just warming it up and getting it, because I knew I'm going to run into these highs here now and then along the way. I'd better get it to where I can do that, and so I just worked with it and brought it on gradually by myself there, and that's all I can. And I just hoped when I got in the studio, because, like I said, I don't have a facility at home to hear it. There's nothing I have except I've got one of these little, Walkman tape recorders. That when I get in front of the mic, that it's going to come out sounding like something, and that's the most terrifying moment. But when Pete Walsh says to me, "Well, it sounds fine, man," then I know he wouldn't lie to me. So then it's fine, and I feel better about it. In the '60s. When I was doing records with the Walker Brothers, people were starting to say, "This guy can really sing," and I thought, well, I better go and learn something about it. So I went to a guy for a little while, on and off, because in those days, I was partying most of the time or whatever, just down at Ronnie's a lot, Ronnie Scott's, and so I was very delinquent. I mean, I'd go to him one day a week, and then the next 2 months go to him again, and it was like that. So it wasn't anything very serious, but that's about, yeah. But then I quite honestly try to unlearn anything like that. I don't, there are a lot of valuable things you can gain from that, breath control and things like that, but you have to unlearn a lot too, so I didn't go very seriously. Well, I think it's just carrying on from my past work. It's another departure in that way. Uh, I always think that there's, as well, a lot of dark humor in my records, because you have to have that attitude anyway to bring it off. If you approach it all with darkness, you won't bring the seriousness off. That's a strange thing to say, but it's absolutely true. You have to have the balance it with humor all the time, and although it's not apparent, the undercurrent of that is apparent within it. Um, I think today it's more and more possible to have an audience for these kind of records. They exist for all kinds of pockets of music we never had before because there's so much more music, and we are, as you say, living in a high-tech information situation. So these kind of records will find their audience, so I don't generally worry about that. I'm just trying to do the best job I can, waiting for what comes to me and that way and using it, you see. I heard a story recently. It was a major in, I can't remember the name of the major, but they'd signed a new band. And it's a story that's actually around a lot now. You can hear it everywhere. And the guy from the major said, now, and remember, don't make it too commercial. And I thought, that's a great story. And that's more and more like I think it's, I mean, you gave Laurie Anderson, that's an excellent example. I mean, she has a market. There's no reason why I can't have a market. There's no, because she doesn't exactly all the time keep a 4/4 going constantly either. I just want to connect with as many people as I can with it. I know it's not easy, but I'm always hoping. Well, all I do is when I'm composing the songs, I take a long time for the lyric, but when I'm doing the melodies, I simply use. I have a Stratocaster at home and rather a Telecaster and a little 5-octave keyboard. It's not a synthesizer; it's just a piano. So I keep things simple, and then before I prepare, I go. I get together with whoever I'm working with, and notate it all, the top line. So generally speaking, I have to use guys who can read. Now there are exceptions, musicians who are so wonderful in themselves, like David Rhodes, for instance, who he doesn't read, but he's kind of beyond music in a way. But if you have readers and they've got the top line and a rough idea of the bars, we will change that and fool around with it. So generally speaking, it's an old-fashioned way of working, but that's the layout. They can actually see the layout. And the chords are there as well, see, because the chords are, these chords in this album were very unusual and took a little more time. In the sense that most of the chords have no names that are used, especially in songs like I See the Cockfighter and the song Bouncer. So we don't know what the names of the chords are, but you just grope around till you find the appropriate sounds for that. And that's why you have to pick players who are an extension of yourself, an extension somehow of your psychological sound, or psychological is a kind of a bad word to use today, but the feeling of that extension. And so, for instance, all of these players were very carefully chosen for that reason, and they're wonderful players. I forgot we were talking about the. Oh yes, getting in and out of it. You see, the reason why is because the lyric dictates everything on these tracks. The lyric will dictate everything to the end, even down to the cover of the record. If you get the lyric right, so if the lyric dictates I'm in and out quickly, I'm in and out quickly on that one. So instead of just riffing or making a track that goes on and on like that, I reversed it and worked the other way around.